How you doing, everybody? This is Pete Bogdanoff and my friend Dave Gabinet.
Dave G in the place to be.
And we are middle-minded. Today we're going to cut into a topic that just came up because the Ozzy passing and speculation on whether him and his wife had planned a suicide after his concert 2 weeks ago. And I'm not saying whether he did or didn't. It's not about Ozzy at all. Just the thought came up that we're talking about at the end of life, would you want to be able to say, I want to die, instead of continue to be medicated or to be in a compromised state of happy life?
If you're asking me, Pete, I think you should have the right to do that if that's what you want to do. If you sit down and you decide, I want to, if I'm suffering, if I don't, the quality of life's not there. If your family decides, yeah, we're cool with that. Even if they don't, I mean, it really is your choice. It's your life. But if you have a family, especially wife and kids, that's something that I think you'd have to talk through with them and do it prior to being sick. And everybody's in agreement. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. I think you always have the choice at the time. Maybe I don't want to go right now. Maybe it's not time and hold out. But if you feel like, I'm done. I'm tired. I just want to go. You should be able to do it.
What if that person's a 12-year-old and they're done? Cancer, whatever, accident at school, driving, doesn't matter. You come up with the accident or the reason. Who decides the age that you get to decide?
It's a great question. And again, do we go on the fact that you're a minor until 18 and the parents may have the right? That's a tough one.
I got to this subject a crooked way.
That's a tough one because, yeah, if the kid, yeah, because, okay, make it a little easier. The kid's in a coma, they can't think for themselves or make a decision for themselves. I think, yeah, it falls on the adult. If there's no chance they're getting better, if it's just keeping someone alive to keep them alive, I think the parent should be able to decide that then. Now, if the kid is alive, and I wouldn't say well, because he's obviously not well if you're coming to this point, but decides, no, I don't want to die. I want to stay here and live and try to live, and maybe something will be better. Maybe they'll have a cure or whatever it is. Then yeah, I guess you got to kind of respect that too. You can't. I don't think an adult should be able to say, "Oh no, you want to live, but I'm the adult, so you're going to die." That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject. That was kind of my point of shifting in it a different way, just changing age from elderly to not. Religious belief, I think, comes in. I worried about my aunt. She was raised Catholic. She was miserable in her death for the last 2-3 years. She was not happy at all. She was in suffering. She was in a care facility that was only 3 bedrooms, and she survived. But it wasn't a happy situation. And so the question came up, is the medical industry creating environments where greedy capitalism is keeping people alive just for the necessity of keeping that bed fill, keeping those operations and medications, which is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, the rent alone in California was, the room and board at the facility was a grip of change every month. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that's where law is what is going to control that. So if you don't have laws that allow you to, end of life rights, or the right to end your life, whatever it's called, if you don't have laws that allow that, you're going to get these situations where they're just profiting off of keeping you alive for sure. Now, if you have the right to die law, then you say, I have the right to die. I don't want to be here anymore, and they shouldn't be able to do anything, right?
It's an interesting subject, though. You think of the animal kingdom, and what do wolves or bears or lions or elk or it's like every other species do when they have a wounded child or wounded infant animal. The wild is much more brutal than humans are.
So some I know just kill them. Others just leave them alone and go off, and you're on your own now, and they end up just dying, right?
Yeah. Then you have the subject of abortions, like it's okay to take a human life when it hasn't existed long enough for you, whatever you think that is, from conception to birth. Here's another area where human beings are deciding whether who lives or dies. And in one, it's, pretty cut and dry, pro-choice, like this is the modern society we're in. So we give ourselves that power in that moment. But at the end of life or after an accident, do you have the same power to take your own life?
I think you have less ability for sure. You have more ability to stop or end a life from beginning than you do from ending the life. And I think it's also just so taboo too. Like suicide is illegal, right? It's illegal to kill yourself.
But only the failures get punished.
Yeah.
You have to oops, I didn't quite get it done. Now here comes the handcuffs and the slap on the wrist or whatever, happens.
If you decide at the end of life because you're suffering or whatever, but then again, right? You could use that as any time anybody takes their life, right?
Any time in their life. That's why I brought the age at it.
It is.
Well, what
so
about a
hard.
13-year-old little boy who's in misery and is not happy and is able to tell you they're not happy?
Or a 25-year-old.
But
that's perfectly healthy. We're talking about perfectly healthy now.
Our society on this doesn't tolerate, there's even to talk about it is, depending on where your beliefs are at, someone can be, you could get someone turn on you for how you talk about this subject.
So how do you, do you have to be terminally ill? Do you have to have because you can't just say, like we're just talking about, it's somebody's, has some mental health issues and they're suicidal and they want to kill themselves, but it's because they're not stable mentally. I guess maybe they're not in the sound judgment mindset to be able to make that choice, or do you have to be terminally ill? Maybe there's got to be more to the law than just
like
you
the
can
guy
take
in the
your
Metallica
life.
song. What's the song? Slipping both of our minds, but
how can
unable
I live?
to
How
communicate,
can I, trapped in myself, body my holding cell. Yeah, I know. What's the name? I don't know. I forget.
That's bad. Who decides terminal or how terminal and then I don't think only terminal, because if you were in a spot where you were in pain all the time, so now you're on morphine all the time, a few weeks of that, maybe you're I'm going to survive this, but a year and a half of that may not be so happy, but you're not terminal. They're just going to keep giving you drugs. They're going to keep you alive, move you into the hospital. Here's hospice care, $10,000 a month. It doesn't cover medical. But people love us.
Right back at square one.
Yeah. People always talk human rights. I like to prefer to human responsibilities. but you would think that it should be okay to take your own life, like it does belong to you. Like, reality speaking, nobody can take that right away from you. It's actually probably one of the only human rights that's actual. Is you do, you can't end it.
Well, you think about this. I mean, when our dogs or cats get old and they are suffering and they're walking around, they don't eat anymore. They're going to the bathroom all over the place and can't control it. They get tumors. We put them down. And we hold them while we do it, and we cry and we love them and miss them and appreciate everything they've given us. It's kind of the same thing, it's like you talked about your aunt. I know someone who their dad was ill, had some, I don't remember what the illness was, but he got the pills or whatever to do that, and just knowing that someday he might get to the point where he wanted to use it, and for a long time he didn't, and then they just decided one time, I just can't do this anymore, it's time, and they all sat down and talked about it, and smoked a joint and enjoyed reminiscing, and then he took the pill, and they were there with him, and he passed, and my friend, I talked to him about it. He was telling me the story, and he's like, no, it was sad, but it was beautiful too, because, we knew that he was in a better place than that. And that just thinking about this, when I said it, I struggled when I said in a better place, because now we get into the whole thing of a religion or something. What is the afterlife? Where are you going to go? Do you go to heaven? Do you go to hell? Do you just do nothing? Which is kind of where I'm agnostic. I'm not atheist. I don't know if there's a God or not. I haven't been proven one way or the other that there is or isn't. But I kind of am in the mindset that when you die, and whether you get cremated or buried in a coffin, put in the ground, you're done. I think once your brain is not doing anything anymore, you're done. Soul, I don't know. Some people believe in reincarnation. So I think all those things also would have a determination on, your decision to do this. Like, what do you think is after it? I would think the interesting thing, I would think that someone who is more religious, super faithful, believes that when they die, they are going to go to heaven, going to go to a better place, that they would be more willing to allow that.
Suicide's the ultimate sin when it comes to, like, what I know of Christianity and the Catholic faith.
Sure.
Taking your own life, and that was one of my thing on my aunt's. Like, she wasn't practicing Catholic, but you don't shake these things from your childhood and how you were raised. And for me, it was evangelistic Christian, affected me in many ways. So when you go to make that decision, I guess you have to be at peace with it. And I think that's rough. Like, my aunt, we had talked about this towards the end, and I don't know, I was, like, in many ways, like, my hero, like, because and at her age, and she was older, it's like, this ain't getting better, Yeah. This is just, how many more months or a year or however long of suffering, and how much more, you start losing limbs, and then you're, stuck in bed, and then you're cycling there.
Are you just prolonging it? You're just prolonging the inevitable. You're using more of your money and resources to stay alive. That's less money that, if you do have money, that if you want to pass it down to somebody, that's dwindling down. That's going away.
At an alarming rate after you did everything right your whole life. You got the retirement, you got the pension, you got whatever, it's sitting there, but in the last 3 years of your life, you...
Gone.
And I think that's the question I'm not accusing the medical industry one way or the other. I don't think. Just saying that does exist. Was my aunt kept alive to fill that bed and get that rent? I have to wonder. She was miserable, and I think, if she had stayed at home, she probably would have died like 2 years earlier. And to some people, that would be an argument that's why to take her out of her home and put her in this expensive facility. But at home, she would have been on the same morphine and the same whatever else, but in her own home. And yeah, it probably would have happened quicker and a whole lot more affordable and in her pace. And she ended up doing it anyways. So
yeah. Now, did she come out of hospice to do that, or did they let her do it?
No, she stayed in hospice when it happened.
Was she up in Oregon?
No, this is in the Bay Area, down in San Jose.
I didn't realize it's not legal here, or it is legal here, or no?
It must be because she was allowed to. We were all prepared a few weeks beforehand. Everybody knew, and that's where I was kind of like a little bit like. It's not the word "proud's" the wrong word, but I'm just like, amen for taking your own road if you're in that situation. Yeah. That's why I went to Ozzy. Like, how fucking badass is that? To say I'm gonna have one more concert no matter how ill and old I am, but probably 2 weeks later, after I stop this service and this medication and this technique, I'm gonna want to just die. And like how,
and especially you don't know what
call your shot.
Someone in a public profile like that, you keep all your health stuff to yourself, so we don't know what he was feeling or suffering or. In the concert, obviously he's sitting in the chair, I think most of the time or all the time, but, obviously energy level wasn't that, but he didn't look like he was going to die within the next week or two. So, who knows, maybe it was stopping medicine and that he was taking that we don't know, and that did it, or maybe it was assisted suicide. I know in Europe, some places there's a little bit less restrictions on that. So
it's a difficult topic, because it just as I said, who makes the decision on someone living or dying, who is allowed to tell you whether they should be kept alive or shouldn't be kept alive. What is terminal to one person versus eternal suffering to another person? If you're talking about an elderly person who just knows I'm already old. It's not like I'm going to get young. Like, at a certain age, you just know it's all downhill. And
I'm like, that's happening to me at 51. So
I'm like, I passed that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm well into the, I definitely know my morality. I definitely wouldn't want to be making these decisions for myself. I wouldn't want to make them for my children. Let's go into that of like, what if a child in the womb is going to come out severely challenged in any number of different ways that you just know the quality of life is never going to be good. Is it okay to abort that at 9 months or 8 months or after birth? Is it once you've birthed that and then you realize, oh my God, this is really going to be a lifetime of care and resources and money?
I think you better know that before they're born and make that decision before they're born. Once they're born, that's it.
But what about the people that can't afford to know that? There's a lot of people that
true.
that are scared to go to the hospital, so they just try to deal with their pregnancy on their own.
Sure.
Like, there's people that do that, and they just won't know until after.
Yeah. We're about to get into the abortion episode, and we don't have enough time.
And we don't have enough time.
That's for next time.
Yeah, I wrote a song about it.
I think, I think we should wrap it up here and save that for the next episode.
Another episode,
because that's a whole doozy of an episode.
Yeah, for sure. Well, assisted suicide, self-induced suicide for medical. I don't know. This is a subject that could be talked about for a long time. I don't think we got into near everything. Anything that you feel like you have to get out on the table before we close?
No. I think we kind of met in the middle. I think we both agree that we'd like to be able to have the choice if it comes down to it to do that. And interested to see how many people out there feel the same, or if not, why not? But we'll let the people decide.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, at what point do you agree or don't agree, and then does it get hot real quick when you stop agreeing to go one way or out of the other on this subject? For sure. So. All right, I think that does it for another episode. We're going to choose to kill this one.
We're going to go kill ourselves. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Just kidding. And definitely seek help if you are in that mindset.
Absolutely.
There's no sense
100%.
Playing on this subject. If you're in healthy mind and spirit, get the help you need. This cast was more about... a way
end of life
broader subject matter. So much love. Enjoy. Thanks, Dave.